Welcome to TF3 Airport. Is what? 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 They say what we famous for. That's why I'm taking y'all on this verbal tour. First stop, Providence Place Mall, 3 floors of stores to shop for you and yours. Don't have a ride, you can take the Ripper. Anywhere you need to go, the bus will get you. Cranston, Warwick, even Newport, Kennedy Plaza, where you can find the ice court. Y'all know Brown University, famous. J-Dub, PC, you alright? Famous. Students from everywhere come here to go there. The capital's Providence. Dante is in your ear. Home of the Blue Bug, Iggy's and Thayer Street. Full of stores to shop or places you can eat. Near there is downtown P-Pack. Enjoy your show. The Dunk Water Fires. Other things you need to know. Can't forget Fat Hill for real.
You may go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of The Other Side of Things. I'm your host, Dante Martin. This way, we're going to do something different today. This one is going to be more of a little political, community building based conversation. So I brought Nikki along with us. She's the co-host today. Because I feel when the person we have today is so important to me because she's a politician. She's a voice of the city for how many years?
My lifetime.
So I thought it was important that the question I'm going to ask, I believe that 2 women should have this conversation as well, woman to woman. And sometimes a man should just take a step back and listen. So without further ado, let's our guests introduce yourself. All these cameras are all yours.
Hello, everybody. My name is Anastasia Williams. I am a community activist. I was a state representative for 30 years. It's a pleasure and an honor to be Dante's guest today, and I hope that I do him proud.
No, you're going to do what's wonderful. Just the fact that, see, what I love right now is that people are respecting the platform and see that we're serious about what we're doing. So the type of people that we're coming on to have this conversation, because we could say we're interviewing, but we're actually having conversations. We're getting different people's perspectives on their observation on how they see the world from the other side. So when you bring different people from different walks of life, I could say something. Like there's a female I'm helping right now, and I was explaining something to her, and the word resentment, people, is important. She was resenting me because she was taking it personal. So then I let her hear a message today, and the preacher said the same exact thing I said, and now she was crying. And I was like, you see what I mean? It's like sometimes people, it's the person that's talking to them and how they feel about that person that is hard to receive. So when you get the face of somebody that's actually in the realm of what it is that we're discussing, like Nikki was in the realm of fitness. So now they say, okay, you're not a professional. Okay, Nikki is. So now they're going to hear it. Okay, you know about politicians, but you're not.
I'm a public servant.
Well, you once was.
No, I once was what? A politician?
Yeah.
No, I was still a public servant. Politician to me has a different definition than a public servant. So,
explain that.
So politician for me is individuals that will go in the back room and barter and, hey kind of situation. I am a elected official, not now, but I am a public servant. I am representing the public's interest. So therefore, I'm not going to go and barter, or I'm not going to go and make that behind the scene deal, because that's not what I'm there for. I'm there to represent the people's interest. So whether I am elected or I am not, I am a public servant. So when Dante mentioned that how long had I been part of this, and I said my whole life. The foundation of my upbringing, it was always given. That foundation was based on character, interest, loyalty, faith, and all those other things. So realistically, it was a lifetime. I was raised in that environment. So there's a huge difference for me. So I'm not a politician.
So you're up for re-election?
No, I lost the race in 2022.
Okay.
But many people, because of the disconnection in our city, in our state, especially in the urban communities, many people are not even aware that I'm no longer there, because they still coming in looking for assistance, they're looking for direction, they're looking. So they knew that they could trust me, they knew that I would help, and that's what I continue to do. So there's an election this year, and my plan is to run.
Oh, awesome.
So explain to the people what that means to be re-elected.
Well, to be re-elected is, first and foremost, if you are interested in civic participation, you need to engage yourself with your elected official. You need to become registered if you're eligible to be registered. Many people are not currently citizens. You must be a citizen in order to register and vote. Many of individuals that were previously incarcerated feel and believe that they have lost the right to vote. More than 15 years ago, we passed a law that is not a situation anymore. Even if you have been a felon and you are no longer incarcerated, you do have the right to vote. You do have a voice, and you do, you should come out and exercise that right. So to say anyone who's interested in politics, in change, in real progressive change, you should get engaged in the process at the city hall in your city or town, at the state house that represents the entire state of Rhode Island, and get acquainted, get acclimated in the process and the responsibility that is on those elected officials. But it's your voice as a person, as a citizen of this state. And when I say citizen, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a citizen in order to exercise your right.
So that actually brings a good point for me. It's kind of a segue to go into how you got to where you are. So Anastasia sent over this huge list of amazing things that she has accomplished over just the last 3 years. I mean, just bill and act of things that you have promoted and wanted to see change in Rhode Island. And that's just 3 years. You've been doing this, at least in the House, since '93. But what was before that? What got you here? What did you see in your community growing up that said, I need to take this to the next level? I see where I can help, and I can help my community and to become a better place.
As I mentioned, I was an activist, still am to a degree, a community organizer. And what the role with that is getting people engaged. There are things that each and every one of us are going through, and each and every one of us have something to offer.
Right.
So again, my upbringing, we were a giving family. We still are a giving family. So all I know is to give, right? So when it started in Wiggins Village Housing Complex, I became the president of the Tenants Association, for which there wasn't one, and was there for 10 years. During that period, long story short, the elected official at that time was Frank Caprio, Jr., and called upon all of our elected officials to come and listen to the hardship that we were having at Wiggins Village Housing Complex, and he was the only one that showed up.
Wow.
So it was like, he came, he listened, and he did. With that, 2 years passed after we reached out to him, and he came back to me one day and he said, how about running? I'm thinking about moving to the Senate, running for the Senate, and we've been watching you for the last 2 years. I'm like, you've been watching me for the last 2 years? Hey, I like to party now. What are you talking about? But we had the conversation, and I said to him, I need to talk to my parents before making a decision, before giving you an answer.
How old was you when you...
Really?
No,
I know.
Talk to your parents, because you know what's amazing? That goes to show you how humble you were. The fact of, you could have easily said, this is a big step in my life, but you say, I still want to talk. Parents are important people. That's what I be trying to tell y'all. And you say, I want to talk to my parents first, and that's what.
I was grown, married, and with children. But my foundation was still there.
Right.
I had a solid foundation. So there are some decisions that I can and will and have made on my own. But that was huge for someone to have been watching me, paying attention to me for 2 years, letting me know that they had been paying attention. That was big for me. So I needed to go and get at least some suggestions, some information, blessing, do something. So I presented it to my mother, and she was like, what do we know about politics? You know, no, don't even consider it, just leave it. It didn't set well with my heart. Her response was not, it was like, jeez.
She didn't understand it.
Yeah,
and that could have been it, that she didn't understand it.
Or maybe also, too, a bad taste. Did y'all have that conversation? Like, cause see, that's what I'm sitting up there saying. Like, when you see how you just changed the narrative, you said, no, I'm a public servant. So when you change that, now it gives people, wait, okay, I want to hear this. That's why I said explain that to them so they can get that point. So if she didn't have someone explain that to her, her definition on what she see politics, and then you're her daughter, I don't want my daughter to be in that based on her ideology of how she look at politics.
Well, think about my reaction about doing the interview, because I'm like, I don't do politics. But when we had a conversation over the phone, your demeanor, your ease, your, like, she's a woman, she's a person, she's a mother, she's a representative. You're all these things, and it just put me in a place where I'm like, okay, I can do this. We're having a conversation with someone who is able to make change in the community versus being a political person who's doing XYZ, because I don't know, I feel like I don't have a lot of knowledge in it to speak on it all the time, and I do have beliefs, but it's not from a lot of research, it's not from watching the news all the time. And so just the fact that you come from that home, community, family based, just has followed you the whole time throughout the whole process, and that's what I love about you, because it's about the community. It's not about you rising up to a certain position, and you could tell even from someone watching you those few years, it's like, oh, you're watching me, I'm just doing what I was called to do.
Right.
And here you are trying to move up, and then you realize, oh, I can make a lot more change.
Right. So my dad was at work, and I waited for him to come home, and I presented the same concern, offer, opportunity to him. And when I finished saying my last words to him, he went, go for it. Just like that.
Yeah.
Daddy's little girl.
Whoa. That was it. It didn't matter what Mom had to say, what she said. It didn't matter. She was out of the equation at that time. And it was brand spanking new. We were, the family were voters, I had gotten registered, but I had never went out and voted. Mm-hmm. But then it was like, okay, now I have to get my act together and get out there and do this. And of course, they stayed on the sideline. They were supportive in the sense that anything I needed, I could go to them. Mm-hmm. But then it was like, I had to find a campaign manager. I had to see what was going to be done. In as much as Frank gave me that opportunity, he took me down. I declared, because we only had like a couple of days before the final declaration day. Declared, he gave me a contribution of $100 and told me good luck. So I was
You're
like,
on your own.
so now what do I do?
Right.
So mentors always do that. It's like they know they believe in you.
They just put you in the fire.
They just like, no, because it's like they want you to learn, and they know you're capable of doing it. I have many mentors do the.
Let's go figure it out.
I'm like, what?
So I didn't know what direction. I didn't get involved with all that kind of stuff. My stuff was more local in the housing complex. So there was an individual by the name of Luis Astudillo who owned a newspaper in the city of Providence, a Spanish newspaper. And he had heard, I'm Panamanian, I was born in Panama, and Latina, Afroamericana, todo eso sabroso, salsonado, bien. So so he came by my home, and he said he wanted to do an interview for me, with me, and I welcomed him in, and he asked me through the conversation, who was my campaign manager? And I was like, I don't have anybody. So he said if I would allow him to introduce me to somebody that would. And I said, sure. And the following day, we went and met with Oswaldo Castillo, who was a former Providence police officer in the city. And he had done campaigns throughout his years. And we met and we had a conversation. And he told me, well, I have to talk to my wife first to see if I can get involved with the rest. And the next day...
You hear this, people? Don't just overlook that. See, when you're married, you got mothers and fathers, there's a conversation. That's why I said we're going to talk about communities. Because, see, that's one of the things that's lacking in our community, that we don't have the parenting that is needed to be efficient and effective. And then the marriage is not there as well. Because listen to what you just said. This man could have said, I can make this decision for myself. No, let me go talk with my wife. Let me go and build with my wife. How do you feel? Because, again, it wears on.
Yes.
It wears on you as a family when you see a loved one going through something and you don't understand and you're not a part of what it is that they're doing. So that's what it is I'm making you a part of what it is that I'm doing, and I'm trying to teach you what I could teach you so you can see what's going on, so you can help me when you need help. Because I know there's times in your life when you felt overwhelmed and you needed someone to help you with that as well, right?
Correct.
See?
Correct. So he came on board. We had 6 weeks left to put a campaign together, and we did, and the rest is history. In one polling place right in the neighborhood, there were 125 votes cast, and I had gotten 124 of those 125. So it was like the mayor came and we want to know what's your secret, and it was like, one of the secret is integrity. If the people trust you, they're going to, and you're transparent, they're going to be there for you, until you have the weeds that end up coming and choking truth. That took place, during the journey. But nevertheless, history was made, and I've been there and have done a tremendous job. I'm not a type that I brag about things. I'm not a bragger. Right. My focus has always been do the work. That's done, what's the next thing? Keep it focused, keep it moving. So just at this last time, the weather.
Right. So how does that work when you first started as to where you're at now? Like, you got in, you were elected. Is it like, here is all that you need to figure out? Or did you kind of see what was going on in the community and what you felt needed to change? Was it like a book of acts and bills to leaf through? Or did you pick out certain things that you were noticing that were wrong or you wanted to prove upon, and then you went to work that way?
That's funny, because I was going to ask, so what's the pros and cons?
Yeah.
That was my next question.
So, you're unless you're a part of it, because many of the elected officials were either pages or their family members were elected, so they were always in it in some way. Mm-hmm. I was brand spanking new, green. So when I went in, it was a whole entire different world, and on every level. But I came with community. I am community. Right. I am a living product of the community, which was not in that world. Mm-hmm. It was the privileged few that was there and in control. So when I came in, one of the things in the Latino culture is when you greet someone, you greet with a kiss. Right. I just thought it was everywhere. So that was one of the things that I brought there. And everybody, hi, how you doing? And it still is to today. Mm-hmm. No one will probably say, well, yeah, she's the one that started it, because it was a cold place. Yeah. But that's a greet, how you doing, okay? But learning the perception of what they wanted to believe, or still in many instances today, believe what the reality is in the black and brown and the poor white community was unbelievable and still is unbelievable. So I brought the real deal to that chamber, to that building, to many individuals, brought it to the attention like, hold on, no, that's not how it is.
So they just have a veil over their eyes this whole time.
Yes.
How are they speaking on anything? How are they even?
They weren't.
Doing
They weren't.
anything?
The poor, the black and brown community was not a priority. You had black elected officials there, and they were doing and they were accomplishing things, but it wasn't as loud. For example, Joseph Almeida, he was a state representative who had put in racial profiling because that was huge. It still is. Yeah. Took him 17 years to see about that passing, even though it's a reality. You're getting stopped for because you're black, because you're a man, because you're in a city or town that you shouldn't be in the state of Rhode Island, because you don't own nothing over here. What are you doing here? For an array of reasons or excuses. Why did it take 17 years? When in fact many of their bills get presented, get reviewed, and sometimes not even heard, but get passed.
Okay. Again,
it's the participation, the power of the people, for which throughout the years has been lacked. And things have gotten harder for the poor, for people of color, than before. That nobody's listening. There's a disconnect. You know what I mean? So the folks, the community needs to be better engaged. But it seems like ego is playing a part. Self-interest is playing a part. The lack of understanding is playing a part. Blind loyalty is playing a part. And the gathering of the community is kind of like moot,
So was it simply a matter of you being relentless and being the most boisterous and loud compared to the other minority officials that couldn't get stuff done, or was it also because you brought the community with you? What made you so different from the other representatives, and how did you get stuff done? What was the difference there?
The difference is I moved in the fashion that I had more than 3,000 of my ancestors with me. Because I couldn't and didn't have the community always there assisting me, I had to be bold. I had to be clear, and I had to be firm on my belief. And whatever it is that I was bringing, I wanted, and they needed to prove to me that I was wrong. Where's the lie?
Right. So you're just persistent.
You had to be, because many times what I found is that they're listening to you, but they're not hearing a word that you're saying. So I needed not only your attention to listen, but I needed your attention to hear it and understand it. And if you didn't understand it, I always said, ask questions. I'm a person that asks questions. And many times when asking questions, when you ask questions, it sometimes gets you in trouble. Because you're asking questions and maybe you're onto something that they don't want you to know.
Opening the wrong door.
Opening in the wrong door. I've been told to black down many times. So it was like, what does that mean?
Right.
And why? But at the end of the day, the God in me, as I have learned, that's there. I took on the mission, so I have to complete the purpose, So I come correct, I come straight, it's like transparent. I'm living it. So therefore you can't tell me it doesn't exist.
Right. Did you find that others actually jumped on with you, meaning they saw what you were doing and like, oh, I'm running with her, I'm with her, I'm going to use that power that she has and the direction that she's going, or did they shy away from you?
Some came because they believed, they know that this was happening, but they came on with name only. They didn't come and join the fight. So it's a difference. When you go in there, you get co-sponsors. So co-sponsors shows that other elected officials are on there, somewhat supporting it.
Okay.
But that's giving them credit, actually, unless they're going to come and fight the battle with you.
Okay.
And almost always it was just me fighting that battle. But they would get credit once it passed.
Right, because their name was.
Because their name was on it, you know. So it didn't matter to me because I didn't have to go and ask them to co-sign it. I could do it by myself and just be my name. But it was an opportunity to give someone else credit as well, with the hopes that they would come and stand with you and have that conversation, have that presentation to try to convince everybody else that this was a good thing. When it didn't happen, it didn't stop me though, because it was something that had to get done.
Here's a question right here. We're gonna go here. So, black woman trying to make a difference for black community, black families. You said you didn't get the support that you thought you were going to get. Why you believe that?
Lack of understanding, blind loyalty, because you have individuals that don't like this. And it's not about this. It's not about me. It's about the work that needs to get done. Ego, being a woman, you know, being very independent, being strong, being bold. Some people are offended by that. Some people are scared of that. You know, some folks call me a bully. And it's like, give me the definition of a bully, because when I hear a bully, I'm thinking someone that's going to give me them sneakers, give me your money. You know, that's a bully. But because I am bold, you know, and I am resilient, I'm going to, nope, show me where I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, show it to me, and I'm not going anywhere. That makes me a bully? Then I'll wear that well. I'll wear that proudly. I will take it. Because I know I'm not a bully. I'm not taking anybody's lunch money. I'm not doing any of that. I'm not asking them to give me their clothes or, you know, their houses or anything. That's a bully. Right. In my definition of a bully. My thing is being honest, presenting truth, being transparent, and having loyalty to the folks for whom I am representing.
So so when you first entered in there, I'm talking about, when I say the community, I'm talking about the people. Now, how much did you think, because you was going to help the community, how much support you believed you was going to get, and did you get that support you believe you was going to get?
I believe that because I know what the community is going through, and because I believe that the community trusts me, I believe that they were going to be there. But I became more aware of the fact that many of our folks are working 2 and 3 jobs. Yeah. So it prohibits them from coming and advocating or being with me, and I understand that. And that was one of the points that I was like, I'm not going to push it, because I know they're trying to survive, you know, keep a roof over their heads and food on their table. But there are those that were there watching and seeing and wishing it was them. Opposed to saying, I'm going to go and lift. I'm going to go and, you know, lock arms with her. I'm going to go and present that hardship that she's presenting on our behalf. They're wishing that they were this. They were wishing that they could be. So instead of being supportive, they were like the crabs in the barrel, pulling it down. Not realizing or not caring that it's not my loss, because I got me. Right. My family's got me. It's the loss of the community. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes what I have found is these individuals will prefer to take the loss, the community take the loss, because they're going to come and make it better. But it's not realistically about the community with them. It's about me not moving forward, which I don't have an ego. I'm not in it like I'm in it to win it. I'm in it to be on the next cover of Time magazine or Vogue or whatever. No, I'm not in it like that. I'm in it to be able to bring truth to power, to make the change, and to be able to say, look, you don't understand it because you're not part of it. And I want to educate you. I want you to understand where we're coming from. This is not me speaking. It is we are speaking. It's my presentation to you on their behalf. You know, because what am I lacking? Not much.
Yeah.